So you say you want to fix the offensive line, but do you really want to fix it? Well, what's happening, Jets fans? This is GreenBean, and we're back with another video. I'm happy that you're here. We're going to get into one of the most important positions on the whole team, and we're going to talk about what just might be the best way to fix it this offseason. But before we do, I want to remind you that if you'd like to see me continue to do this thing, keep bringing you Jets content and live streams, there's a way that you can help support the channel, and the best way is to subscribe to my Patreon. The link is right down there in the top of the description. And don't worry, when you join the Patreon, you get all sorts of additional content that is private to you and my Patreon subscribers. We have 3 tiers, which would vary in the degrees of the special content that you get, but we have all kinds of fun things like watch parties for classic Jets games, positional breakdowns, all kinds of stuff. And Tier 3 even get a guest host spot on the Monday Night Mock. If you'd like to, go ahead, click that link. It is greatly appreciated. Another thing you can do is just hit like right here on this video, and even better, hit that subscribe button. It keeps the channel going and enables me to continue to bring you the best Jets content on the planet. How do you think about that? So we do a lot of draft stuff on this channel, and as Jets fans, we talk about mock drafts and this and that and the other thing about the draft ad nauseum. We're really a draft-heavy fan base, are we not? But there's another thing that we can look at in some detail, and that actually comes down the pike before the draft. I know you know this, but we're talking about free agency. And the truth is, there are 2 positions, 2 priority positions that I think we could really take care of in free agency and give us some breathing room in the draft, so we don't have to feel so urgent about certain positions and trying to squeeze everything and, oh my God, I got to get this guy, that guy, I can't pass on him because this guy. We could use free agency in a really beneficial way to help out 2 units on this team. Now, one unit is the cornerbacks. As you guys know, we have a really young cornerback group, and if we went out there and signed a vet in free agency, I think it could really round out that group and have just a really large impact to a young core, and I think that would be a really smart way to use our free agent dollars. The other unit, and that's what we're going to talk about in some detail today, is the offensive line. As you know, Joe Douglas has used 2 of his first 3 first-round picks on the offensive line. He's also brought in a whole bunch of different characters and even used a 4th-round pick as well on Cam Clark, who just had to retire due to that neck injury, sadly. But we're talking about using premium capital, our first-round picks, 3 years in a row. A lot of Jets fans would like to see us fix that right guard spot, which is really the last glaring hole on the offensive line. They'd like to see us use another first-round pick just to get that right guard spot done, not even look at it. And I get it. It makes a lot of sense. If you want to just commit and just say, I'm tired of playing games, we're just going to grab one with the first-round pick, stuff them in there, plug and play, and call it a day. That makes sense. But the truth is that at some point, you're going to have to spread the wealth a little bit. You're going to have to take these first-round picks and use it on other positions. It could still be offense. It could be a wide receiver. It could be a tight end if we get there after the combine. But it could be edge. It could be linebacker. It could be so many positions. And I think that at some point, we really should consider doing that. The other picks in the draft can be used on things. But let's talk about the free agent period. Why don't we just take this free agent money that we have and go out there and get one of these guys that's not a question mark at all? Somebody that's young, somebody that we know can play in the NFL. They're not going to get to the NFL and get starstruck, or their head's not going to be spinning. We already know that they can play at a high level in the NFL. Let's take this money that we have, maybe fix the cornerback, but let's say, hey, you, right guard, I want you. What do you need? Plug in right here, and it's done. Why don't we do that and then give us some breathing room in the draft? Now, okay, we're in. We want to do that. But who the hell's out there? Who can we give this money to? Is there anybody worth taking our free agent dollars and giving it to that could realistically plug and play that right guard spot and make our offensive line better, which would give Zach Wilson time, which would give our running back holes. Who is it? Well, there's quite a few free agent offensive linemen out there right now, but the truth is I'm really zeroed in on 3 of them. These guys would probably be the best case scenario. Now, I might like one more than the other a little bit, but the truth is all 3 of these guys I think I would be delighted with. And in my opinion, Joe Douglas has to go out there and get one of these guys in free agency, and that would fix our offensive line problem at the right guard spot in particular. So who are they? Number 1, they're not named Brandon Sheriff. Okay, now I know people love Brandon Sheriff. I liked him in the draft coming out in 2015. I think he's a good player. He didn't even give up any sacks last year, so why wouldn't I want him? Well, number 1, he made $18 million last year. It was his second franchise tag in a row, so I don't know if he'd be trying to get $18 million again, but he's going to be probably the most expensive guard on the market this year. And for a guy who's literally never played a full NFL season, I don't know if that's what you want to do when you're talking about fixing the offensive line once and for all. Why have a guy that comes in and plays 14 games, 15 games? I think last year he played 11 games. And so why take 15, 16, 18 million dollars and give it to a guy who you already know is likely not to finish the season? So Brandon Sheriff, while I wouldn't be devastated if we signed him, I don't think it's the route that we should go. Let's talk about the 3 guys that I think should be talked about. 3, and then I'm going to give you a bonus guy. How's that? So 3 + 1 = 3. That's right. So the first guy I want to talk about is James Daniels. Now, James Daniels, I actually put in my first offseason master plan, and I got to tell you, I'm still on that train. I really like this guy. I think that he's a plug-and-play guy. We take him and we plug him right in, and the issue's done. He's 25 years old. He's 6'4", 295 pounds. So, I mean, these days you could even think that might be a little bit light, but he's $3 bills. He played all 17 games last year. So conversely, when we're talking about Brandon Sheriff, this is a guy who played every game last year, and at 25 years old, he's still a young guy, still has a young body, and that's probably leading to more things to come for him. He played 1,121 offensive snaps last year, and he gave up 3 sacks. Now, the negative side is he did give up 9 penalties. So what does that mean? I have a theory on James Daniels' penalties. Last year, they had a completely different quarterback group. Like they had one guy who was a pocket passer, and then they brought in Justin Fields, who is not necessarily a pocket passer, and trying to extend plays and all that kind of stuff. Lots of holds happen when quarterbacks do that. So in my opinion, it was kind of the tumult with their quarterback group that led to some of those penalties, and it's not so much of a concern to me. I pay more attention to the 3 sacks than I do the 9 penalties. And I think, again, he's 25 years old. I think James Daniels would be a fantastic hit. Now, before I move on to the other guys, I want to remind you, all 3 of these guys are going to be in the same financial tier. Pretty much. And there's a creative way that we can do this. If you look at the average of guard salaries right now, the 5th highest paid guard right now is making $14 million. That's Zach Martin on the Cowboys. He's making $14 million. There are a couple guys between $15 and $16 million. Brandon Sheriff, obviously makes over $18 million. But the next highest paid guys are in the 16, and then there's a 15 and 14 and change. So when you look at about 5th, that's Zach Martin. He's making $14 million. Now, as we know, there are rumors that the salary cap is going to go up next year. It could go as high as $30 million more. So this is the year you want to go out there and grab these guys and lock them up. And you can even start to push some of their money to the following 2 or 3 years if it's a 3 or 4 year contract. So let's say all of them were ready to give anywhere from $13 to $15 million. And what you could do is you can give a nice fat signing bonus in the front. You can parlay a lot of that stuff and push it into year 2 and 3 when the salary cap goes up. With the signing bonus, you can probably get this year's salary down to like $6 or $7 million to help out with the money that you want to spread around to the other positions, like maybe cornerback. And it all can be done in a nice, creative way, and you can take care of this stuff. With the salary cap going up so much next year, this is the year, man. Go out and take this $60 million that we're projected to have and go and lock up these guys now and just push the money till next year like every other team does. There are ways to do this. So let's just say we're going to pay each one of these guys $15 million, all right? So we talked about James Daniels. Now, the next guy I want to talk about is coming from a team that just lost their leader, just lost the glue. Now, they lost Tom Brady, and now they have Kyle Trask. The Buccaneers. I think that if Tom Brady stayed, a lot of these guys that are going to be free agents on their team would probably be willing to stay there and even take a little bit of a pay cut just to stay with the team. We saw it happen last year. They didn't lose any free agents. It's amazing. They lost 0 free agents because of why? Because of Tom Brady. This year, they did not win the Super Bowl. Tom Brady is gone. Kyle Trask, a second-round pick, is coming in. And I think guys are going to start saying, if I'm going to leave, now's the time. So this next guy, I think we could get him. His name is Alex Kappa. Again, he comes from the Bucs. He's 27 years old. Remember, James Daniels is 25. Alex Kappa is 27. He's 6'6", 305 pounds. Has not missed a game in 2 seasons. You picking up a theme here? You see what I'm talking about? I don't want Brandon Scherff. He's never finished a season. I want Alex Kappa, who hasn't missed a game in 2 seasons. He played 1,182 snaps last year. He did give up 5 sacks, but he only gave up 1 penalty. Alex Kappa is among the top free agent guards in the class. I would be psyched if Joe Douglas just went out there minute 1 of free agency, call Alex Kappa, say $15 million, get your ass over here, get it done. I would be psyched if it was Alex Kappa. Now, the last guy I want to talk about just might be the best fit of all of them, and that is Laken Tomlinson. As you guys probably know, but if you don't, Laken Tomlinson comes from the 49ers. Well, where did Saleh and LaFleur and our offensive line coach, John Benton, where did they come from? The 49ers. So Laken Tomlinson not only knows the system, he knows the coaches. John Benton was his coach as recently as a year ago. So these guys know each other. They're going to know their tendencies. The comfort level is there. Everything you could want is there. Now, Laken Tomlinson is a little bit older. He's 30 years old, so you give him maybe a 3-4 year contract, like 4 years with an out clause at the end. You get him over here, and you call it a day. He gave up 2 sacks last year, and wait till you hear this. You want to talk about healthy? He's missed 1 game in 5 years. What is that even like? Have we had a player who has, since DeBrickashaw, Ferguson, and Mangold, since those guys, have we had a player who has missed 1 game in 5 years? This is the type of player that we want to bring in here. This is the security that we want to give Zach Wilson. So Laken Tomlinson, James Daniels, Alex Kappa, those are the guys that we want to bring in. They're healthy. They're predominantly young. They barely give up sacks. That's what we're talking about. Professionals, guys that you know can do it in the NFL. Get them on in here. They're always on the field. And then as a little bit of a backup, but you could say competition, here's 3A. It's very important that we sign LDT, Lawrence Duvernay Tardif. LDT, the guy who we traded Daniel Brown for last year, who the Chiefs cut Daniel Brown just a few minutes later, who we signed back, so we essentially got him for free. He just said that he would be willing to sign a team-friendly deal to stay with the Jets. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Dude, the guy just made $8 million last year. He signed a $45 million contract just a couple years ago. He came over here. He immediately boosted our offensive line. Not perfect, but give him a year in the system. Get him over here and think about this. You got your full offensive line, and if somebody does go down, that's the guy you got coming off the bench. No more of these guys signing him up from the practice squad and all that jazz. You got LDT playing backup guard. That's the way you want to do it. That's called depth. So what do you guys think? We got James Daniels, we got Alex Kappa, we got Lawrence Duvernay-Tardif, and we have Laken Tomlinson. That is my solution. You take care of the offensive line, the right guard spot in free agency. You go into the draft without that hole on your radar. That's how we get it done. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm dying to hear. Is there a guy I didn't mention that you think is one of the guys we should consider? Let me know. I love talking to you. And with that all said, have a great night, everybody, and go Jets.